Hey guys, welcome to the channel Shave in Solitude. My name is Siraj. I hope you guys are doing well and are having an awesome week. Today's razor review, continuing in the Slant series, is the Fatip Lo Storto. I hope I'm saying it in the right way. Lo Storto means the twisted one, and it is aptly named because it is a razor with a twist, as you can see, because it's a slant. So before we go on to the next part of the video where I talk about the specifications of the razor, Fatip as a company have been making razors since 1950s, and it's one of the very few companies which still continue to finish the razors by hand. So, most of the ones like, let's say, Mercure and all of these people, they will obviously go ahead and use a mold, right? And they will cast their razor in the mold. And then machines go ahead and finish the razor off. Not with the Fatip people. The Fatip people obviously are going to go ahead and use molds, but then at the end of it, the finishing of every razor is done by a human being. Now, keeping that in mind, the price point that these razors sell at are phenomenal. They're like 40 to 50 bucks, which are in line with the mass-produced razors as well. So you're going to end up with a razor which has been touched by a human hand, made by an actual person, finished by an actual person, and every razor can be slightly different than the next. So the only thing that happens is because it's not finished in a machine per se, but the QA or QC has become a lot better over the past few years. There might be a little bit of very, very slightly, might be. I have not faced it with this, but when I was going through the forums, people said, some of the older ones, you just had to make sure that the blade reveal on both sides was the same. No hassles with this one. I am using a brand new Gillette Silver Blue. I've not used that in this particular razor. And what I'm doing in this series is I'm using each of these razors for a minimum of a week. And the shave that you guys are seeing right now is probably my 6th shave. So I've already used a couple of other type of blades in it. It's worked out well, and I'm really liking the razor. So before we go forward, let's go into the specifications of the razor. So when you saw these specifications, I hope one of the things that stood out is this is made of 100% brass. Yes, there is a coating which is put on top of it. Brass as a metal is what used to be used in the olden times, Gillette and stuff like that. So, brass is something that you can go ahead, you can mold after the razor has come out of the actual mold, in case if you need to finish it, which is why it's finished by hand. Secondly, not sure whether you guys know any of these Zamac razors, like most common ones like Mercure and stuff like that. The coating that you get on a Zamac razor cannot be reapplied. I didn't know this. When I was doing research on this specific company, that is when I saw that brass, and that is why you'll notice, people sending their old Fat Boys and Silver Tips and everything to people like Matt Pisarcik from Rec Supply to get it refinished. You can do that because those are brass. This is brass. The other stuff that you get normally, which is similarly priced, is not brass. So keep that in mind. So not only are you getting a razor which is hand finished by an actual human being, they have been doing it since 1950s. Price wise, all of their razors fall within 40 to 50 bucks, which I think is phenomenal. And last but not the least, they use real brass. Okay, having said that, let's get started with the shave. What I'm going to be using today for the soap is Supply Citrus and Basil. Not sure whether you guys got a chance to check out my supply deep dive. I've done a deep dive where I've gone into the razor, the different products they sell, what you should, what you shouldn't buy based on my take on it. If you haven't seen it, check that video out. The supply SE razor is quite nice. So anyway, getting back to the shaving cream. So I had bought around 6 of their shaving creams because I wanted to test them out. And this entire week, what I've done is just shave with supply creams. They're not the best, they're not the worst, but they're able to get the work done. All right, so let me lather up and let's start with pass number 1. So I'm working with around 2 days of growth. I'm using a razor company 50/50 synthetic and badger brush. So what kind of brush do you guys prefer? I generally prefer synthetics, so I don't need to work so much on my lather. These badger brushes, for me personally, take too much of time to break in. But I know that there are people who prefer badger and boar. I have a few. I've got like maybe 5 or 6 of them. And most of them are not used yet. So in the course of this particular challenge, or not challenge, series, Slant review series, said what better time but to get my hands dirty on using the badger brushes and boar brushes. So I thought I'll take baby steps. This is one that I have, which is, like I said, a mixture of synthetic and badger. So I'm starting the journey with this. Always found it a little difficult to lather with these non-synthetic brushes. But obviously keep in mind, you're not looking at volume, you're looking at slickness, right? So even if the lather is not popping, so to speak, you should still be okay. Again, not the best lather, but I think we can get the shape on. Remember, brass really holds on to heat. So if you're going to go ahead, if you're going to put this in really hot water, once you put it on your face, it's going to burn. So just keep that in mind. All right, let's get started. Pass number 1 with the grain. As you guys can see, not sure whether you can see it over here, but it's going down to growth. That's the good thing about slants. All right, let's wash up. Let's come back for pass number 2. All right, guys, pass number 2, east to west. The Gillette Silver Blue is an awesome pairing. So this razor is the close combed version. They have an open comb version as well, which I don't have. So even if it is close combed, you'll notice the ridges on this particular safety bar, right? Can you guys see that? It's slightly raised. So it helps to pull the skin up and get it ready for the shave. So without being an open comb, you could say it's not so, what's the right word? It's not so closed off as a close comb, right? To me, it's a nice combination between an open and a closed comb. And I think for most people, this closed comb version will work better. Alright guys, let's wash up and come back for pass 3. So we washed up after pass 3. It's a phenomenal shave. I could be done. Honestly, I mean, there's very little left when I'm going south to north. Obviously these areas, right? But if I'm just rushing in for my day, quick pass, 2 passes and you're pretty much done. That's the beauty of slant razors. All right, let's lather up for pass number 3 because you know us, we're going to do the BBS shave. All right, let's do pass number 3. For the third pass, I've noticed that if I ride the cap, I get a better shave. So let's do that. Yeah. So for riding the cap, all that you're doing is rather than shave like this where your angle is straight on, you're changing the angle and you're going ahead and you're putting the cap more on the face and just using a little bit of the blade to go ahead and take the hair off. So rather than this, you're doing this. What I've also noticed is I feel that this razor has got a slightly negative blade exposure. So I tend to have to go multiple times because the blade is really not hitting my skin to get a BBS shape. So just keep that in mind in case you're chasing the BBS. Yeah, see these areas, I still feel there's just a little bit. Well, it's done. Okay, the toughest area of my face. Let's get that done. Again, just ride the cap, guys. And you'll be able to blade buff like this with no trouble. All right. Yeah, we're good. Let's wash up and see how is it that we did. All right, let's see what does the alum say. Yeah, alum is singing a little bit, very little. And it has been singing all week, to be fair. It varies slightly, on a scale of 1 to 5, maybe 0.5, 0.75 at times, specific areas. But then, I guess I get this absolutely glass finish, which stays on for at least 12 hours. All right, I'm gonna keep this on for 30 seconds, wash it off, and come back and share with you guys, number one, my subjective take on the razor, and number two, my final thoughts. So be back in a second. So we're back. So you guys saw my subjective rating for this razor. I'm here to tell you this is a phenomenal razor. For the price that you pay, the fact that it's not completely machine made, it's made by a human, the fact that it's brass, and the fact that it gives you an absolutely BBS shave, right? Now, in case somebody was to tell me, given that the 37C Mercure and the Fatip razor are priced equally, which one would I pick? If I could only pick one between those two razors, I will pick this. I think it's better made. I think it's better finished. I think it overall delivers a better shave. So that's about it, guys. Those are my thoughts on this razor. Do let me know if you have tried any Fatip razors. I think they are phenomenal. Although I've just got a couple of the razors. I have this one, and there is one of a wooden grain one that I picked up. I've not yet shaved with it. But given their excellent price points, in case somebody wants to try out the different combs and stuff like that, I think they are phenomenal. You should give it a try. So that's about it. Hope all of you guys have a wonderful week ahead. Stay safe, and I'll see you next week.